welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show, presented by ClickWay Creators. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Parimal Prasad, with us. He is Head Legal Retail Litigation at L&T Financial Services. Parimal's total professional experience is around 20 years, which includes a stint as an in-house counsel and outside counsel with leading corporates and law firms in India. As an in-house counsel, he had successful stints with Unilever, ICICI Bank, Western Union, IDFC First Bank, and currently with L&T Financial Services. His area of specialization includes litigation management, international contract negotiation, regulatory affairs, business advisory, compliance, and secretarial support. Thanks so much for joining us,
Thank you for joining.
and we are pleased to have you with us.
Yeah.
So, can you please let us know more about your personal and professional background?
Thanks for having me on board, and I'm excited to be part of this LexTalk interview. Well, you kind of gave my introduction. So yes, I'm a professional of last 20 years, and I've had stint with law firms. I've had stint with corporates, and it's been a long and exciting journey in the world of advocacy, I would say. Currently, I am based in Mumbai. I'm with a company called L&T Financial Services, and I live in Navi Mumbai with my wife, my daughter, my mother. I've had schooling from all across India, including places like Kolkata, Jamshedpur, Patna, Chennai. I've had my higher education from Delhi University. And for the first 10 years of my careers, I was working in Delhi in top law firms. And a member of Bar Council of Delhi. I'm a member of Supreme Court Bar Association. I'm a registered patent agent. And so far, so good.
Okay. So as we are facing this COVID-19 situation, so we would like to understand how the financial sector in India and Asian region is impacted due to COVID-19, and what solutions do you foresee from a legal perspective?
Yeah, so situation is bad in financial sector, as we all know. Economy is in doldrums, growth is become negligible. So from my perspective, in fact, I belong to retail litigation. So my perspective, what I foresee is, even though the government is, kind of given a moratorium for the loans, so good for the, for the bona fide customers, they would get this, 6 months of moratorium to basically adjust their finances. But for the customers who are not bona fide, who got ulterior motives, who are bona fide defaulters or habitual defaulters, they would use this opportunity to, in fact, default more. So once they default more, NPA would rise. And if NPA rises, then we need to file cases against those defaulting customers. So I foresee a lot of litigation a few months down the line to recover the dues of the banks and to recover the dues of the finance company. This is one. Secondly, this entire COVID-19 has been an eye-opener for the legal industry. Now I'm using the term eye-opener because legal industry, for a matter, have had very, minimal reforms. We've seen great reforms in, say, IT world. We've seen great reforms in, in any other sector for that matter. But reforms in legal industry, legal fraternity has been only to the extent of repealing old laws, which the new government has done. We've got currently, as we speak, we've got very good laws, and that is helpful for the cause. But this COVID-19, this lockdown has actually reflected the legal infrastructure of the courts in India. A lot of reforms is required. What I mean by legal infrastructure is, see, we all know about Supreme Court and High Court. They are like 5 stars. You go, you have got air-conditioned courts, you've got smart advocates, very articulate advocates, you learn a lot. But then what about the trial courts? What about the courts in small cities? They had a lot of challenges with respect to digital infrastructure. Forget digital infrastructure, they don't even have proper infrastructure. Say, I've been to trial court because my profession takes me to all the cities. I travel to the top cities. I travel to category A city, category B city, category C city. I even travel to rural India. So the courts out there, especially in towns, small towns, they need to have a lot of infrastructure reforms, including digital reforms. So for an example, this video conference, we all hear courts is now kind of listening to cases through video conferencing. But, the advocate had to wait for hours and hours to have that uh, correct infrastructure or correct bandwidth or correct internet speed to argue their cases. So this is a great opportunity for the policymakers, for the for the administrators to undertake a huge reform, infrastructure reform, including digital reform. And then I would come to say a requirement of a new law. We have this alternate dispute resolutions. We have arbitration, we have conciliation, we have mediation. But this lockdown for last few days, there's a lot of webinars, a lot of talk going on for online dispute resolution, where you don't have to go to the court. The way you and me are talking, through online, so those disputes can be settled. So this is a very good development, and I've been part of those webinars and seminars. And hopefully, sooner than later, the government should make law for online dispute resolution, which will be a game changer, which will be cost effective, which will basically, it will go a long way with respect to legal reforms. And thirdly, we all talk about China, both positive and negative. But one thing to learn from China is we have artificial intelligence courts in China. So why not have the same courts in India? And those courts, they listen to regular matters. Say a violation of traffic rules or these kind of matters, and we have plenty of them. So use this opportunity. So we means the stakeholders, the government, the administrators, the courts, they should use this opportunity to bring a lot of reforms, have artificial intelligence courts in India. So yes, to sum to your question is a good opportunity for the legal industry, an eye opener with respect to digital infrastructure, and a lot of scope for reforms.
That's well said, sir. So, as a legal professional, what are the three core values you truly believe in?
The three core values is, I would say, knowledge, integrity, and ethics. Now, what is knowledge? I think we all know what knowledge is, but I define knowledge of not only bookish knowledge, especially legal fraternity, we read a lot of books, we read a lot of internet news, there's a Google generation. Everybody, they go to Google, they type something, and then they think they're an expert. But knowledge also includes practical knowledge, which lawyers of today's world, especially the young lawyers, practically they don't care about this practical knowledge. So sitting in a 5-star atmosphere, kind of going through the laws and all is good for a corporate lawyer, but about litigation lawyer, it's very important to actually go to the courts, actually meet the lawyers, try to understand how does the court function, how do judges function, what is the mindset of the court. These knowledge, you cannot get it from Google. So for me, knowledge is important. Then second, I said, is about integrity. So integrity is especially a lawyer. Now that I'm in a corporate world, a lawyer is basically an eyes and ears of an organization. Okay, so integrity for me is to do right things, to do things where your soul would, where you can talk to your soul that this is the correct thing of which is basically correct to do. So those things which should not demean you, should not dishonor you. So that is integrity for me. And in this profession, especially when the entire company looks upon a legal department, a lawyer, to basically advise them. As legal fraternity, we cannot go wrong. We cannot give a wrong advice. We are internal advisors. So at that point of time, and those advice is very important if you have that character of and a person who takes care of his integrity. And the third is the ethics. So ethics for me is what should be morally correct, what should be socially correct. So in today's world, it's very important to be an ethical lawyer. It's very important to have a lot of integrity in your work. It's important to have knowledge, both bookish knowledge and practical knowledge.
Well said, sir. So, because all these points which you covered, practical knowledge and do things right, and we should responsibly, like if I talk about ethics, we should ethically very strong in moral sense and as well as in social sense. So that's well said, sir. And what do you recommend, as you mentioned, because a lot of young generations, especially in the law industry. So what do you recommend them to become a good lawyer?
So my recommendation to the young generation lawyer would be to specialize. Now, what I mean by specialize is stick to what you're doing for some time. I come across lawyers, they start, chasing, the moment they become fresh law graduate, assuming they have a campus placement, within 6 months, they want to change a job. They want to jump from law firm to corporate to litigation to again, they want to become a judge, they want to join another, say press. So because there are a lot of scope for a lawyer, so the young generation seems to be confused, seems to be in a hurry.
Yeah.
So a lawyer needs to be a specialist. So assuming you want to see your career 10 years down the line, you need to stick in a law firm from 10 years. Then you can, climb the hierarchy. You can become a partner or you can become a head of legal when you stick in industry, when you have that knowledge. Because end of the day, there's a perception, right? You might have changed 10 jobs, but the perception when you bring to a table is, oh, this guy is not consistent. This guy keeps on, changing his job, keeps on hopping from one job to another. That should not be there. So during the law days, during your internship, make sure that you take a very informed decision, a very conscious decision. Yes, this is my field. Assuming I want to go in a law firm and I want to become a partner, so I need to stick around. I need to specialize. So this is one. Second is to then it's important to chase knowledge and not money. This is my favorite cliche I keep on using because what happens is some lawyers start behaving like salespeople, or collection. So I'm not degrading sales and collection here. So what happens is you get a 20% jump offer, you get a 30% jump offer, and you leave and you join that job. So then you're part of the rat race, because law is basically about a professional. What is being professional? You need to be knowledgeable. So you cannot be in that rat race. I get 10%, I lose, I chuck this job, 20%, I chuck this job. I don't like my boss. I don't like this. I don't like my profile. These kind of, issues, I face when I kind of meet youngsters and all. And I think I keep on telling them that do not chase money. Of course, money is important. It's important, to take care of your expenses, to take care of your lifestyle. But then you cannot be needy. You have to be needy. You cannot be greedy. So in initial year of career is very important to have a minimum living standard. But then adding value to your profile is much, much more important than the money you earn. Now, in today's youngsters, the first salary, they want to buy a house. Second job, they want to buy a car. Third job, they want to go for a, Swiss holiday. So these kind of ambitions basically hamper the path you are kind of choosing. This path is a very holy field. So I feel being a lawyer is a holy profession. It's more holier than being a doctor. Okay,
Yeah.
you need to have a lot of commitment. And you need to, first 5 years of profession, do not worry about money. Because once you have that knowledge, money will chase you. So currently what's happening is the young generation, they're chasing the money. So let the money chase you. You become so knowledgeable that let money and power chase you. And third advice I would give, especially for corporate lawyers, that they also need to become an advocate. Now, advocate means when you register in a bar council, then you are termed as an advocate. So you need to do registration. So that's use different terms. In Bombay it's called sanat. In basically other parts of India, you call you register with the bar council. Now, why I'm saying this? Because corporate lawyer do not. So they live in separate world. I'll give you a very small example. Why I'm saying that every corporate lawyer also needs to become an advocate. They need to visit the court sometime. They need to understand the functioning of a court. So I'll give you a very small example. In one of my earlier stint, I came across a warrant was issued in the name of a top management. Okay, the entire office was seen to be, in a panicky situation because the corporate lawyers were at the helm of the affairs. They never knew the difference between summons and warrants, and within warrant also what is bailable warrant and non-bailable warrant. So they had to rush to a law firm and rush. How do you manage this? How do you do that? Why? Because they never had practical experience. Because to become a corporate lawyer, you need not register yourself as an advocate. But I still feel if you want to, be a real lawyer, if you want to be head of department, if you want to, have important positions in corporate, you need to be an advocate. You need to have the practical experience of a trial court at least for 6 months to a year to understand the procedure of law, because this becomes very important in the careers.
Yeah, that's true. All your learnings are very important for the young generation, especially people should have the commitment, like, and obviously they should go for the practice for the court. And so there was one last question, sir. How do you think we should contribute towards the welfare of the legal community in India?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because this is not talked about. So I would love to basically answer your question. See, primarily the legal fraternity in India is around 5 million. Say 50 lakh lawyers we have, roughly I'm talking about. Okay. So what happens is, you sitting in Delhi, I'm in Mumbai. So for a moment, forget about the lawyers of top 10, 12 cities of India. Okay. Because here the opportunity is good, you are well paid, you have a social status. But then the lawyers in other towns of India, because like I said, my work makes me travel across India. I come across very intelligent lawyer, very knowledgeable lawyer, but they do not have that kind of infrastructure or a social setup to excel in their field. Now, a place like Mumbai or Delhi has got hundreds of law firms. They got hundreds of corporate. So a smart lawyer in Delhi and Mumbai would not struggle to get a good job and climb the hierarchy. But then what about a knowledgeable lawyer in a small cities like Bhopal, like Indore, like Patna, like Bhubaneswar? There also you need to have the infrastructure. You need to have more law firms out there, more infrastructure out there. You need to support these lawyers there. I'll tell you, in today's world, because of this COVID, the courts are closed. Many advocates in India are hand to mouth, which is very difficult to imagine sitting in place like Delhi and Mumbai. So bar associations have come up because when you say file a case in the court, so you have to pay that advocate welfare. You need to pay some amount. So that stamp is put on that wakalatnama. So that money goes towards the welfare of the advocate. So with that welfare fund, advocates are basically getting money for their day-to-day expenses. This is the real state of affairs for majority of those 50 lakh lawyer or 5 million lawyer I'm talking about.
My God, that's very tough situation for them.
Yeah, and we need to do something about them, something about their, we need to do something about their social status, something about, how do we enhance their knowledge, how to give them more of infrastructure, and see, because end of the day, uh, the kind of reforms we are having, we'll have a lot of law firms in small cities as well. But then are these lawyers prepared? So this way, I would love to create a fund, especially in the corporates like us. Why not create a fund, and why not kind of help these advocates by giving them references, giving them jobs, or giving them social security, trying to add value to their profile, kind of giving them counseling about that. You need to do these courses so that you will get a good job, or you need to specialize in these world. These are the laws which is attracting a lot of cases. So these are lucrative practices. They don't even know in today's world that what are the laws wherein if you specialize, you can have a lucrative career. So I think it's very important that we need to give them financial help, social help, give them a correct infrastructure so that our brothers and sisters in small towns, even they also come up as per the demand of and so they should be able to come at par with top 10, 12 cities of India. I would like to do something for that, and maybe I'm planning to get in touch with few of my friends to basically find ways and means to help and support advocates from these small towns.
Great insights. And thank you very much, Mr. Parimal, for sharing such great insights with us. And we look forward to have a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal industry. And for our viewers, please like and share videos if you like the chat with Mr. Parimal, and also subscribe to Clickway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do and have more coming from industry leaders. This is Abhishek for LexTalk.